Hey everybody, thank you all so much for coming out. Where's my buddy Robert? Robert, Gator Man. I think we're gonna get this thing started here.
Where go?
Thank you all so much for coming out. It's almost like 6:10, so I figured it's a good time to get it started. We got most of our stragglers already in here. Everybody that's on that side of the bar, come over and fill the space up over here. I swear to God I don't bite. Don't believe the stories you've heard. Fill this on up. Thank you so much for coming. Well, this is awesome. We have returning faces, we have new faces, and that's why we do this every single week, because we're trying to build a community with the Bernie Sanders movement, and we figured that this is a good place to do that locally, right? So we have people that come almost weekly. We have people who are new to this. If you've never been here for one of these caucus trainings, let me hear like a little round of applause for all the new people. Oh, God, that's awesome. Thank you to the Skylark. Thank you to the Skylark Lounge for letting us use this place. We've been here since July doing these kind of meetings, and the Skylark is awesome. They've opened the space up to us the whole time. So with that being said, please tip your bartender. Tip your bartender. Forrester, he's amazing. He's an awesome guy. You guys, we do these things because we're like, all right, how's the best way that we can start supporting Bernie Sanders to make him the president? And from my past experience with politics, I know about the caucus, and I was like, you know what? We need to tell people about the caucus, and we need to tell people the little intricacies that they're gonna have to know to even participate in the caucus. So that's why we started putting on these meetings every single week. And then we added that into the meeting was the idea of canvassing. How are you gonna bring more people from your neighborhood to the caucus with you so that we can actually win on caucus night? So then we added the whole idea of, hey, let's talk about canvassing too. Now we're gonna start also talking about phone banking. So tonight you're gonna hear about the caucus, canvassing, and phone banking. So let's get all into it. Prior to this evening, I used to say to everybody, I'm just some guy, I'm just a random dude that decided to put on these events and share my knowledge with as many other Bernie supporters. And I used to also be able to say, there is nobody in the state of Colorado that works for the Bernie campaign, that this is a complete grassroots-driven organization. And that's still true for most of the sense. But as of a few days ago, the Bernie Sanders campaign finally hired some staff. Thank the Lord. And we actually have the field director for Bernie Sanders for Colorado here with us tonight. His name is Josh Phillips. Josh, where you at, buddy? Come up here. You have to come up here. They get to see your face.
I just got him to sign in.
You got him to sign in. Good. Hey, what's up, Josh? I'm going to have Josh talk later, but now you know who to harass. That guy. Go, everyone harass that guy. That's Josh. We'll let him talk later tonight. There's also an amazing woman, Dulce. How do I pronounce her last name?
Science.
Yes. Dulce Science. She is the state coordinator. So she's Josh's boss. And state director. And she is absolutely amazing. Just her past work with Colorado Conservation.
Conservation Colorado.
Conservation Colorado. Her main thing there was outreach to the Latino community. And so I think she's going to do a lot of really important work for us in terms of outreaching to communities of color, especially the Latino community and the African American community here in the state of Colorado. She's not with us tonight because she's running around the state already meeting with a whole bunch of people. So anything that you want to talk about with Josh tonight, Josh is going to stick around afterwards, and he wants to hear from people. He wants to hear from people who have been involved doing work for the past few months. He wants to know what you've been doing. He wants to share with you the campaign's vision of where they want to take Colorado. So everyone, please stick around afterwards, not just to talk to Josh, but to also meet your neighbors, because we're building a community. Now we're going to get into, why are we building this community? Because Bernie Sanders is running for president, and his platform, his campaign slogan, is the world's longest campaign slogan ever, but it's the best. And it's join the political revolution today. That's what it says on the back of his shirt. Join the political revolution today. And each and every one of you, by taking the time and coming out here, you're doing that. You're taking one of the first steps in this political revolution that is so absolutely necessary for our country at this point in time. But we got to do a lot more. And this is a long-term project. This is way beyond just electing Bernie Sanders next November. And Bernie Sanders will tell it to you. Every single speech that he gives, day in and day out on the campaign trail, he'll say, hey, I'm going to tell you something no other presidential candidate's going to tell you. That if you just elect me, I'm not going to solve any of your problems. What we need to do is not just elect Bernie Sanders next year. We have to take back Congress from the Tea Party and the House of Representatives. We have to take back the Senate from the Tea Party. But then we have to put strong progressive allies. So when Bernie Sanders proposes all this amazing legislation like Medicare for all, free college tuition at every state college and university, he needs a Congress that's actually going to back him up and pass all this legislation. And that's where we all come in, the political revolution. So we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about the short-term strategy of just electing Bernie Sanders as our president. And then we're going to talk about a long-term strategy of taking back Congress and giving Bernie Sanders the allies and the powers that he needs to get real stuff done. The first step in this whole thing is March 1st. March 1st in the state of Colorado is caucus night. In the state of Colorado, we don't do a primary like some other states. We do this really arcane kind of way of choosing the nominee, which is a caucus. A caucus essentially is just a meeting. That's all it means. Caucus means to meet. And so we're going to get together and we're going to meet with just the Democrats in our neighborhoods. They break these caucuses down to the precinct level. The precinct is the smallest political unit in our federal system. In the state of Colorado, there are 3,010 precincts. So on March 1st at 7 p.m., at one time, there will be 3,010 different meetings taking place throughout the state of Colorado. And each one of those meetings, they'll be conducting the same business. But each one is very important. What are we going to be doing at these meetings? We're going to be doing a few things. But one of the most important things we're going to be doing is taking a presidential preference poll. It's like the first order of business. The presidential preference poll is where we are going to nominate Bernie Sanders. What's really cool about the delegation selection process for the Democratic Party is that the delegates that are apportioned out to each state are dependent on the results of that presidential preference poll. So, in order to get any delegates, your candidate must receive 15% of the poll or more. In the state of Colorado, we have 77 delegates that are going to be going to the National Convention. 13 of those delegates are called super delegates. These are Governor Hickenlooper, Senator Bennett, Representative Perlmutter, Representative Polis, Representative DeGette, and then the remaining 8 are what are called distinguished party leaders. These are the establishment. 13 votes from the state of Colorado are in Hillary Clinton's pocket right now. Her campaign released a report almost 2.5 months ago saying we have 20% of the delegates necessary to win the nomination. And they're right. Even though we haven't cast one primary vote, one caucus vote, the Hillary Clinton camp already has 20% of the delegates they need. Because all of those delegates are super delegates. They're all politicians that are way smarter to ever cross Hillary Clinton. Thank God Bernie Sanders is completely insane, right? Because Bernie Sanders is the only person inside the Democratic Party that's going to cross Hillary Clinton's path to this like predestined throne of hers, which is the presidency. What we need to do as activists and volunteers and Bernie supporters is get every single delegate that is up for grabs through the caucus process. So if we have 77, 13 of them are super delegates, we have 64 delegates plus 5 alternates that we can get. And we need to get every single one of them. We can't get 30 of them, we can't get 40 of them, we can't get 55 of them, we need to get all of them. All 64 plus 5 alternates. Because Bernie Sanders is going up against all the money in the world, all the power in the world, not just some of it, not a little bit, all of it. He's going up against all the special interests. And so what he's calling for is a people-powered political revolution. So we need all the people on our side. So my challenge to the Bernie Sanders people for the last several months, going and doing these things all over the state, is on caucus night, March 1st, we need to get 86% of the vote for Bernie Sanders, or more. But 86% needs to be our goal, because if we can get 86% of the vote, we will shut out Hillary Clinton or Martin O'Malley from getting any other delegates, okay? That's the key right there, it's 86% or more. So make that your focus. How are we gonna do that? My challenge has been, okay, let's try to mobilize 100,000 people to come out to caucus for Bernie. If we can get 100,000 people from the 3,010 precincts across the state, that means we're gonna need about 35 people from each precinct coming out on caucus night. So I need you to go home and start finding 35 of your neighbors that love Bernie Sanders just as much as you do. And the thing is, some of those people might not be registered as Democrats right now. Until just a few months ago, I was a lifelong Republican. My buddy Robert, who helps me put these things on, he was a Green Party member for the last 25 years. There's plenty of people in this movement who have never been affiliated with any party in their life, who've never voted or participated. There are people who've been lifelong Democrats. But the thing is you can't participate March 1st at the caucus unless you are a Democrat by January 1st. So we have a very short window right now, the rest of this month of December, to turn all these people that love Bernie Sanders, that are unaffiliated voters or Green Party members, and we have to convince them that they have to become Democrats at least until March 2nd. I tell them all, hey, on March 2nd, if you want to wake up and you want to become an unaffiliated voter again, you can do it. I really don't mind. But I need you there on caucus night. Because we have to flood the caucus with as many supporters as possible so that we can get 86% of the vote all over the state of Colorado. All right, well, how are we going to get those 35 people? We're going to do that by canvassing and by phone banking. Right now, there's phone banks set up that are targeting, there's about 9,000 people across the state of Colorado that have somehow identified themselves as a Bernie Sanders supporter by either donating money on the website, signing up on his website, or coming to an event like this, filling out a sign-in sheet, and then that sign-in sheet getting turned in back to the campaign, okay? So we have 9,000 people in the state of Colorado that like Bernie that still aren't Democrats. So we have phone banks set up right now. There are volunteers at this moment in time calling other people in the state of Colorado, telling them, hey, I can see right here, you're an unaffiliated voter, but you like Bernie Sanders. They're like, yes, I love Bernie Sanders. Well, I need you to become a Democrat by January 1st. Really? How do I do that? Well, you go to govotecolorado.com, and like last night I was doing this, and people will do it right there on the phone with you. They'll be like, hey, can you sit on the phone with me while I go change my voter registration? You're like, yes, I'll wait with you. I want to make sure you do this. I had like 5 people last night. I had a couple people that I called that were like, oh, I am a Democrat. I've been registered a Democrat for years. And then I tell them, you know what, let's go on the website and just double check your status. And they'll go in there and they're like, oh my God, I'm unaffiliated. And you're like, yep, that's why I'm calling you. Because we need all the Bernie supporters registered as Democrats. And I know some of you guys out there that are just like so tied to your independent status, it's like your identity. It's who you are as an individual. I'm not trying to take your identity away from you, okay? I'm just asking you. Bernie Sanders is the longest serving independent congressman in US history. Truly, he's not really a Democrat, right? But he understands that he has to run in the Democratic Party if he wants to stand a chance of actually getting to be the president. Because if Bernie Sanders just ran as a third party next year and Hillary Clinton was the Democratic nominee, we will elect Donald Trump as the president. Because that will just split the vote of the left wing in this country and will make the Republican, whatever wingnut they nominate, the president. And Bernie doesn't want to do that. The first day that he announced his campaign, he said, I will not be a spoiler. Meaning, I am in this to win this. I'm in this to win the Democratic nomination. So anybody out there with an inkling in the back of your head that like, oh man, I can't wait till Bernie Sanders starts his run for his third party nomination, that's not gonna happen, guys. So we need all of us working on the same page to get Bernie the Democratic nomination. And we can also do that by canvassing our neighbors, going door to door, walking around and talking to our neighbors. And when we're doing this right now, we're not cramming Bernie Sanders down anyone's throat. A lot of people are like hesitant to go canvassing because they don't want to be screamed at by their neighbors talking politics. Most people won't scream at you. A few people will scream at you, okay? Don't take it personal, it's totally fine. You're gonna develop a thick skin really quickly. But right now we're just going out knocking on people's doors and trying to identify support for Bernie Sanders. So that doesn't mean like, hey, I'm trying to convince you to vote for Bernie Sanders. It literally just means like, hi, I'm TC Bell and I'm here talking to people about Bernie Sanders. Are you familiar with his run for the presidency? And from that one question, I can determine their support. If they tell me, yeah, Bernie Sanders is a communist and he should move back to Russia and so should you, get off my porch right now. I'm like, okay, thank you so much for your time. I mark him down as a 5 and I never come back to that house again. I never send another volunteer to that house again. But the other day I was canvassing for 2 hours right across the street, and the very last house that I knocked on, the very last house, the guy lives right across the street from this bar. Knock on the door, he opens the door up wearing the Bernie Sanders t-shirt.
Nice.
And I'm like, hey, you're the guy I'm looking for. He's like, why are you looking for me? Because I need you to show up at the March 1st caucus. Are you familiar with the March 1st caucus? Do you think he was familiar with the March 1st caucus? Nope. So I explained it to him really quickly, why it's important for him to be there, how it's going to win Bernie the nomination, and then I asked him, now sir, do you plan on being at the March 1st caucus? And what do you think his response was? His response was, hell yes, I'll be there. And so that's what we have to do now. Now that you guys have this knowledge of like, oh, I gotta go caucus for Bernie, I gotta be registered as a Democrat for Bernie by January 1st, you need to decimate this information as far and as wide as possible. Every single person that you come in contact with until January 1st, you just have to be like a crazy person, like everyone. Hey, do you know about the caucus? Do you know about being registered as a Democrat? Everyone you come in contact with. I talk to people that are serving me coffee. I talk to people that are checking me out at the grocery store. I see people with Bernie Sanders bumper stickers on their car, and I'll be stopped at a red light. I get out of my car, go knock on their window, and I'm like, hey, do you know about the March 1st caucus? And they're like, no, what is that? I explain it to them really quick, because we got a red light turning green real quick right here. And then I just say, you know what, you want to learn more? Come to the Skylark Lounge. We do this event every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. If you want to learn more, come. And the crazy thing is, these people actually come. I remember one week, this guy walked in the door and I was like, hey, I think I recognize you. He was like, yeah, you're the guy that was knocking on my window at the stoplight. I was like, you actually came. That's awesome. So, I can't do this by myself. We have 9,000 supporters that love Bernie Sanders that when you call them, they all tell you the same thing. I'm voting for Bernie. Well, not so fast. You won't be voting for Bernie because you're not registered as a Democrat. But the second you register as a Democrat and you show up on March 1st, then you'll be able to get to vote for Bernie. Most people don't know that. And what Bernie's calling for is a political revolution in this country. And this is the beginning of this, okay? So what we're gonna do first is elect Bernie Sanders as the president in 2016 and then again in 2020. But we also need to start electing people at every single level of government, all the way down from the podunk mayor of some small little town, to school boards, to sheriffs, police chiefs. We need everybody. State House, State Senate, US Congress, US Senate, presidency, every single level of government has to be affected by this political revolution that Bernie Sanders is calling for. And so that takes a lot of political engagement. It's gonna take a lot of time. And the people that I use best as my example for what we need to do is the Tea Party. In 2008, the Tea Party started organizing at this level, okay? Yeah, they didn't have any hope of winning the election of the White House. Barack Obama took the White House, but that didn't stop them. They kept organizing at this local grassroots level. And in 2010, they took over the House of Representatives. And then they kept organizing, And then in 2014, mostly because nobody showed up to vote, they took over the US Senate. I think 41% of the general public that could vote in 2014 actually voted. Millennials, 80% of millennials did not vote in 2014. And that's why the Tea Party now runs both houses of the legislature. We have to take a page right out of their book, you guys, because we have to give them credit. The Tea Party controls Congress. How many Occupy Wall Street members of Congress are there right now? 0, absolutely none. But there's way too many Tea Party members. So what we have to start doing is, Richard Nixon used the quote, get into the arena. We have to get into the arena with these people. Because what they're doing at the federal level and at the state and local level, you can see it with the school board fights, with the textbooks that they pick, with the limiting access to women's health care like they're doing down in Texas and the rest of the South. Like, when these people take office, they actually affect real things, and they're dismantling the American way of life, slowly but surely. So you guys, Bernie Sanders is a long-distance runner, but he's been long-distance running in the political field for over 55 years. I meet so many people in this movement that are Bernie Sanders' age. Bernie's 74 years old. I meet so many people that are in their late 70s, late 60s, that have been waiting so long for this moment, okay? And they see it like we can just, all we gotta do is reach out and work a little bit harder and we can do this, we can make this happen. But now I'm calling on all my millennials in the room. It's up to you guys to make it happen. Because in this upcoming election, you are the biggest voting bloc that there is. You have the possibility to affect the outcome of this election. But what did I say earlier? In 2014, 80% of us didn't show up to vote. Just think about that for a second. So guys, all we gotta do is get engaged, and we can take this country. I don't like to use the term, we can take it back. Because that's the term the Tea Party likes to use. We're gonna take our country back. We have to have had something first to ever take it back in the first place, right? No, we're not taking our country back. We are taking our country forward. We are taking our country forward. I love Donald Trump's slogan, he even trademarked it, is making America great again. No. You guys are doing the work that is going to make America great, period. Not again. You guys are making America great. This right here is what makes America great. Okay, so please tonight, don't just leave when I'm done. This is about building a community, building a long-term family. So I want you guys to stay, talk to your neighbors, meet each other, find out if there's a supporter in your neighborhood or in your district or your county that can help you go out and knock on doors, or can help you phone bank, or can help you do anything that you want to do for Bernie Sanders. Thank you so much for coming out, you guys. There's that guy Josh over there. Bug him if you guys want to get involved with the campaign at a little bit higher level of volunteer activity. If you want to help coordinate events or anything like that, that's the guy you want to talk to. And we need leaders right now. We need leaders from all over the state of Colorado emerging, taking on roles so that we can make this happen on March 1st. All right, we gonna do it? You guys feeling the burn out there? I'm gonna let Josh come up here. Man, thank you, Josh.
Of course. How's everybody feeling tonight? Feeling the burn, I hope. As CZ said, my name's Josh Phillips. I'm the field director for Bernie Sanders' campaign in Colorado. It's officially day 9 for me, so still pretty fresh, but I've had a chance to meet a lot of you. And I just have to say, just right out of the gate, I am just blown away by the volunteer enthusiasm that we've seen on the ground here. And I just give yourselves a hand, guys, for all the folks who are knocking on doors, making calls, training people on how to caucus, because that's how we're going to win on March 1st, is by all of us going out. We got to recruit our neighbors, we got to recruit our friends to get involved in the campaign. And we're really excited to be here. As CC mentioned, our state director, Dulce Signs, started just today. She's just so thrilled with all of the networks that are already developing. We're just kind of here to make sure that we can ramp this up and take it to the next level. So I just want to talk about that for just a sec, and then I'll kind of keep us moving through our program here. Because we are going to start putting together teams across every single House district in the state. We have 65 House districts. We want to make sure that we have captains in each House district, volunteer captains who are recruiting volunteers, data captains who are getting lists out to folks. We're going to have training captains who are making sure that every single person knows how to caucus in those House districts. And then we have the really easy job of finding 3,000 people to actually be caucus captains at their caucuses. So that's 40 to 50 for every House district. It's no small task, but we have the people to get folks involved, to get folks committed, so that on March 1st, we win every single one of those caucuses across the state. We're going to win Colorado. It's about how much we win by now. That's our goal. We have to drive the margin. We have to maximize delegates. That is the job of our campaign. So get involved at your House district level. Please sign in, come out to events. We're excited. There's a big we're going to lay a stake down on December 19th. It's the next debate coming up. We're going to have an event in all 65 House districts on December 19th. So make sure you look online, find an organizer here, find out what's going on in your House district. We're hoping to do a lot of debate watch parties, but we'll also have some canvases going on that day, some phone banks going on, to make sure that we can identify all of the House districts where we have huge volunteer networks, and then we can start to identify the ones where we need to continue to grow, where folks in Denver might need help by calling into Douglas County, into Jefferson County, Adams County, helping our friends out across the state. Because we're going to get it done in Denver, we got to make sure that every single county across the state is turning out, is delivering delegates for Bernie Sanders. And with that, I guess, and I'm a Vermont native, so I grew up in Vermont, go way back with Bernie, but I guess I always love imitating another great Vermont elected official, because we're going to go to Jeffco, and Pueblo, and Durango, and we're going to win the delegates, and we're going to win Colorado for Bernie Sanders. Good night, everyone. Come find me. I'm hanging out for a while.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Please don't leave. Everybody start talking to each other. These are all your new best friends. I swear to God, they're your new best friends. You just don't know it yet.
We are a power to be reckoned with, folks. Let's do it.
I guess we'll do a little Q&A. If anyone has any questions, Gia, you got a question over there? Anyone got a question? If not, it's totally cool. I actually like it when we don't. You got a question? I'm gonna come talk to you, because these people are gonna have their side conversation.
Good evening, everybody. How we doing? Good. How are you? Excellent. You guys having fun? Before I get started, what I'd like to do is introduce my good friend Carrie Booth. Carrie, would you come up and say hello? Say hello.
Hey everyone.
So what we're doing is on December 27th at the View House in Centennial, we're having a viewing of Inequality for All. Anybody familiar with the documentary? A few people? Outstanding. So it features former Secretary of Labor Robert Reich, but it also, and so we're inviting people out to take a look at the documentary, really address the income inequality in North America, but more important than that is our own Bernie Sanders is also featured in the movie as well. So what we want to do is invite people out that are not yet Bernie supporters. They may learn something from the documentary, and it's going to be incredible. We're going to have a voter registration. So we've selected we have four individuals who are going to help with voter registration. So we're going to have a separate table for voter registration as well. And then Carrie is a veteran of the Marine Corps. So give her a round of applause. So what we're doing is we want to really reach out to the veteran community. So if there are any veterans of military service in the house tonight, come connect with Carrie and I. We want to definitely mobilize all the troops. We have over 400,000 veterans in the state of Colorado. And so if we can reach out and mobilize them to support the candidate that stands for veterans' rights, then I think we can make that's a huge community that we can get to support this campaign. So thank you all for your time. Terry will be sitting at the bar. So thank you very much.
Because Chris had the very first event at what was the hotel?
Holiday Inn.
The Holiday Inn, and that got this started. So I think we need to